Feminism, the political ideology that advocates the rights of women on equal grounds with the social, political and economic status of men. In recent years, this movement and its messages of female liberation and empowerment has made its way into the fashion industry. Types of clothing which are available across high street retailers and contain feminist messages include t-shirts and sweatshirts for both men and women with slogans such as "This is what a feminist looks like," "The future is female," and various definitions of the word feminism. My short documentary film will have as its primary focus the idea that feminism is now a marketised, fashionable commodity. I will also concentrate on the various opinions towards the fashion industry and the movement of feminism itself that this process has invoked. The sociological concern with the commodification of feminism is outlined through the works of cultural theorists such as Angela McRobbie, who explores the idea of a post-feminist society in which feminism is more of a mainstream branded identity than a socio-political movement. This film will also draw upon the theories of Jean Baudrillard, a social critic who argues that human beings are surrounded by a hyper-reality, which makes consumer culture and the commercialized objects around us more immediate within our consciousness than our social relationships. So this way of popularizing feminism and bringing it to mainstream attention is seen by some as a positive step in exposing the feminist ideal of an equal society. Surely feminists are delighted with their message being displayed and worn by celebrities and the public alike. However, this documentary aims to apply a critical insight to this assumption. I will be examining the ways in which the mass production and consumption of feminist fashion items arguably separates feminism from its political dimensions and does not in any way contribute to global equality between the sexes. My main source of inspiration will be Andrew Morgan's 2015 documentary entitled The True Cost. This film provides a rather in-depth visual depiction of the global repercussions of the fast fashion industry, and a lot of its content I find relevant to the film that I will be producing. The narrative of my film will partly be comprised of a visual depiction of the kinds of garments and items of clothing that are available to Western consumers, which contain feminist images and slogans. I will try to film in clothes shops, or I will use images from clothing websites in order to show this. This imagery will be used in order to engage the audience with the main subject of the film, and to show them the very visual ways, both in real life and online, in which feminist ideals are packaged and sold through the fashion industry. I will also highlight my own feminist perspective of the globalization of the fashion industry through the use of images derived from secondary sources. These will be photographs of garment workers in Southeast Asia, which I think display very well the intense hardships that these women face due to the increasing demand for fashion. To justify the use of these images, throughout I will be speaking about the true price of cheap commodities in the West, and how the production of seemingly feminist clothing items is actually not very feminist in practice. This will only be a short aspect of my film, but I am hoping that it will trigger an emotional reaction from the audience. Also within this film will be a series of short interviews with some students, for instance those who are members of UWI's Feminist Society, and some of the people who work for Labour Behind the Label, an organisation that is concerned with the rights of the women who work in sweatshops and manufacture these supposedly feminist items. The purpose of these interviews will be to highlight and understand the opinions of those who are in some way connected to this issue. I will be asking participants how they feel about this issue and if they think there are any implications, positive or negative, to the fast fashion industry selling feminist messages. I am hoping that these interviews will add more depth to this visual piece of research and provide a different and interesting insight to the overall argument of the film. This intriguing aspect will allow the audience to feel more connected with the issue and the documentary itself. When editing this film, I intend to use B-roll shots when appropriate. Interview footage can sometimes have a disengaging effect on the audience if the visual material is just the same shot of someone sitting and talking. Including a B-roll will hopefully alleviate this problem and make this part of the film more interesting. Other technical aspects of my film include the use of full colour, not black and white imagery. This is because the film will have a lot to say about this colourful issue, and I would like it to be as aesthetically eclectic as possible, which I believe can only be achieved through full colour footage. My own voiceover will be used throughout the film, but I do not intend to be visually present. I'll be there in the background to remind the audience of my own affiliation with the issue as the creator of this documentary. However, I mostly want to include the perspectives of others in order to create a well-rounded piece of research. Overall, the aim of this documentary will be to apply a critical examination to the role of the fashion industry in the production and dissemination of feminist slogans and messages. Different filming techniques will all be carried out with the audience in mind in order to make this sociological piece enlightening. I hope you enjoyed this storyboard, as its purpose has been to propose a rather exciting project that I will be undertaking in the next few months of my university career, and reflects my passion for this subject. Thank you for listening.